Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we are doing the weekly, October 6th to the 12th for the sign of Scorpio. Alright Scorpios, we're going to get right into it. Strong water sign you guys are. Alright, powerful. Let's see. Finances and career. It's been a running theme throughout this week. Heart-to-heart conversations. And we have attraction. Nice. So three good energies here. Finance and career has been running theme this week for a lot of the readings. But let's go ahead and get right into your animal spirits. We're going to see what kind of animal spirits or energies you may be working with this week, resonating with, tapping into, or it could also be representative of the people that you're dealing with this week as well. So, as usual, just take what resonates with you, what applies to your situation, and disregard the rest. Because, of course, not all of these readings can be for all signs, and we know that already. Okay? This is Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus in Scorpio. And the video is timestamped, so you can go in the description and jump ahead if you want to. We have the Crow. Wow. Ultimate card for magic and the occult. Turtle. Water energy. The Crow, of course, is air energy. Water energy, turtles associated with the great storytellers, writers, right? Authors. And the Lion has been showing up quite a lot. Fire energy, talking about self-realization, really self-mastery more than anything, right? Highest card for self-mastery. All right, let's get right into it. So when we talk about the Crow is a extremely spiritually strong animal spirit. The spirit is, of course, air element. It's associated with potent magic. It's associated with the occult. Crow energy can come into your lives when you're seeing things that are usually unseen, when you have heightened extrasensory perception. You may have a heightened awareness of otherworldly things, right? However, when crow energy comes in, the most important thing to do is to remember to be clear in your mind. Because, of course, these areas in our lives can often lead to illusions for many of us, right? Many of us, certainly people who follow tarot believe in certain, perhaps magic or esoteric ideas and theories. They may be studying the occult. However, whenever you're dealing with these realms, you have to remain clear in your mind, lest you get caught up in things that simply aren't real. Right? There's real, and then there's just not real. There's just imagination. And so the Crow comes in to remind us to be ever watchful, to be very strong. And certainly if you're dealing with those realms, to remind yourself to have a healthy, balanced other life. So healthy relationships with friends, a healthy nutrition, take care of your body, continue to do self-study as well. Continue to do self-study, continue to study whatever arts you're into. Oftentimes people who resonate with crow energy can really lose their mind because they've somehow believe they have some special ability that somebody else doesn't, or they believe they've tapped into some unique thing that nobody else can, and they get really caught up in a dream world, really, of ideas that just really aren't correct, aren't there. And a lot of times this happens because when people resonate with this energy, they stop studying, they stop learning, and oftentimes their ego, in fact, gets in the way with the idea that they somehow don't need to learn anything more because they have this natural gift. This is all an illusion. And so in order to make sure that you do remain grounded, that you truly study these forms, these art forms, and these mystical forms properly, you must indeed continue a lifelong study of yourself and them. Now, turtle energy is water energy, and turtle is the ancient soul. This is the person who's extremely grounded, has a really strong sense of self-identity. This person is spiritually strong. An ancient soul, like I said. So they've been around the cosmic block, as it were. And so oftentimes turtles can really They can go on travels where others really can't. Other people oftentimes may be overwhelmed or they can't handle it. The turtle really can handle any kind of terrain or any kind of adventure and still remain whole. It's one of these animals that bridges earth and water simultaneously, and this connection is what keeps it grounded. Again, a turtle is associated with storytellers, people who are able to go around the world and collect stories. And in order to be a good storyteller, you have to be able to tap into the essence of the story and yet not get caught up or swept away by it, so that you can actually retell it. Very, very special energy. Now, lion energy is fire energy, and lion is the ultimate card for self-mastery, really, right? I did say self-realization, but that's a little bit different. Self-mastery is what we're talking about here. And so spiritually, emotionally, financially, and as far as his environment is concerned, this is his ultimate his ultimate goal. And oftentimes what happens is that the lion can come across as unapproachable, as aloof, snobby even, right? And this is because the lion really doesn't pay any attention to anything or take any time for anything unless it is a part of his journey or her journey to master himself. Unless it's part of his agenda or it impacts this objective of the lion, the lion will tend to sort of ignore any other sort of extraneous energies, extraneous events, or superfluous events, things that really don't matter, that are, they're just... They have no substance, right? They're just things that hang on. The lion really has no time for that. And that can come across in communication. Oftentimes, if you look deeper into somebody who's resonating with lion energy, you will see that their goal is not to separate themselves from anyone else, but their goal is to reach the highest form of themselves that they can. And that necessitates being disciplined. It necessitates also having boundaries. Right? Lion is associated with Leo, strength, the 8 major arcana, and that is the number for boundaries, strengths, and weaknesses. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into your spreads for the week. We're going to pull out about 5 to 8 spreads, Scorpio. Very, very strong. I'm going to say that these are all extremely complementary, and certainly the running theme here is talking about self-improvement, self-mastery, and certainly for some of you who are maybe resonating with crow energy, or you're dealing with someone who's resonating with crow energy this week, that turtle energy, that groundedness of the turtle energy will work perfectly in sync with the needs of the crow. All right, Scorpios, I really adore Scorpios. They are probably some of the most misunderstood astrological signs. I am myself a Sagittarius with a Taurus rising, but I really have a great affinity for Scorpios. And so I do hope this reading resonates with you guys. You guys are tough on me, though. I can tell you're very tough, and I appreciate that. I really do. All right, guys. 7 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, and we have 3 of Pentacles. So, of course, this is what we're talking about. Reevaluating your life goals right here, right? Reevaluating the fruits of your labor. Are you really getting the fruit back for the amount of effort that you've put in? And a lot of this has been a lot of sort of like self-searching in a way, but self-searching of your environment, like I said, and of what you've achieved up until now, right? 7 is the number for hopes and dreams and wishes, and so you just are trying, maybe some of you will be taking stock this week that are you really on your path? Are you on the right path? Are the things that you are accomplishing what you always desired? Now, on the heels of this kind of contemplation this week, a victory does seem to come in for you with that 6 of Wands. A vindication of some sorts, or it could just be a victory. It almost feels to me, Scorpio, like some of you will feel like you've had a victory in life this week. It could be that you finally achieved something that you've been wanting for a very long time. It could be a love connection. It could be a career motivation or objective that you've achieved. But whatever the case may be, this week you really feel like you've gotten the cake and you've been able to eat it too. And this 3 of Pentacles also comes in, and so I'm going to say for some of you, this victory could certainly impact how much money you begin to make, right? Sometimes things happen in our lives. You may come together with somebody, a connection, or you may have a certain stage of your life coming in. And so it is a stage of your life, certainly with the Six of Wands, where you're feeling more motivated, you're feeling very confident, and life is reaffirming that. On the heels of that, oftentimes you will get something like a Three of Pentacles, because people will begin to see your work, recognize your work for what it is. Your money or your coin may increase as a result of it. It's a very, very nice aspect this week for some of you. Queen of Swords, Four of Swords, and Eight of Cups. So some of you this week are certainly resonating with this energy of letting down your mask. You may have been holding up a mask. You may have been holding back some of who you truly are, like your identity in a sense. Queen of Swords talks about cutting, you know, the court cards are hard to interpret unless you have been reading cards for quite a long time. Queens, one of my subscribers actually commented on this. Queens are naturally water energy. Kings are fire. Knights are air. And pages or princesses are earth. And this is something you need to think about when you're looking at the court cards, because here we have a Swords, which is associated with the mental, with air, but it's a Queen of Swords. And so in this way, we're talking about, and of course, mental and communication, all of that is also associated with the ego and with our identity, right? And so Queen of Swords is talking about your heart and your identity that you show to the world must be in sync. Right? And so in this way, when we see the Queen of Swords, we're talking about that sword of truth, cutting away any veils or any masks or any hidden things that we have about ourselves. In this way, we are being very open with who we are. We're in line with who we are inside and the face that we show to the world. And this effort this week is what you're going to be resonating with. And I think in a particular relationship, you're going to be wanting to see more of your person, who they really are. You have a desire to show more of yourself. This is also makes sense because Scorpios are very private, and it takes a long time for them to really show who they are to someone that they care about. But this is the week where it begins. You start to strategize a little bit. You have Four of Swords, and you want to still maintain your stability. So you're thinking about your next steps, you know, in this particular area. You're thinking about what is the next move with this relationship. Eight of Cups comes in as well. Could be heart-to-heart conversations, right? Could be heart-to-heart conversations. Eight of Cups comes in to say that there's certain boundaries that you have in place and certain criteria or perhaps a standard, right, that you want your relationships to live up to. You've had enough of shallow relationships, and it could be that some of you Scorpios right now are in a relationship, and in an effort to kind of go, and this is an 8, remember, with line, boundaries, strengths, and weaknesses, in an effort to make sure that this relationship you're in and future relationships, right, are stronger, are ascending, are deeper for you, right? What you truly desire, because you've had enough of these shallow, you know, all of these little cups or shallow relationships. You're turning your back on them. You want something deeper. And in an effort to get that, this is what you'll be resonating with this week. Queen of Hearts, Empress, and Judgment. So some of you are certainly really putting a lot of effort into your career right now, into your finances in your career or an objective in that area, right? You realize with Empress energy that you're going to have to nurture something. It may be that you're starting something a little bit more creative in your career, or you may be going down a more creative path with your career. And that requires you to nurture that path or that new idea that you want to follow or that you want to see out manifested, right? Nurture yourself as well. It could be as well that now is the time to really put a little bit more energy into yourself and believing yourself and kind of nurturing your own creativity as well. Empress energy is really, really strong for that, whether it be you or an endeavor that you're adding this kind of energy to, right? Judgment comes in this week and as well, and it's almost as if For some of you Scorpios, it was like you may have been, up until now, you may have been like, well, I would never do this, or I would never do that, or you had a certain idea about a certain situation, and that is now changing with this Queen of Pentacles, this Empress. Like I said, you're realizing this new area or path that you're going in is going to require a lot of time and patience and energy, but you can do it. And I think that judgment is coming in because for a very long time you may have thought you couldn't have done something, or you didn't want to do things like this. This is kind of a change in how you see yourself as well. Letting go of some judgments on yourself and on those around you, in a sense that you realize now that change is possible, and it doesn't have to be painful either. It can be creative. Hanged Man, King of Pentacles, and Justice. Again, here we go again with finances and career. So some of you have realized that you've been in a kind of a holding pattern. It's time to break out of a particular area that you've been in your career. You may have been stuck. You may have not been moving forward. It could be that you have a particular business, or an example would be like, if you have a particular career, let's say you're some kind of, I don't know, engineer, right? And whatever field that you're an engineer in, you're very specific, it's fizzling out. The technology is changing. That skill and that career is no longer really needed anymore, but yet you've been holding on to it for quite a long time. At the same time, you find yourself slowly kind of realizing that if you keep holding on to this kind of idea of yourself, right, an idea of your career that in fact is going to be going the way of the dinosaur at some point, you're going to be ass out, right? You won't have any career, right? And so you're realizing this about yourself, that you really need to adapt to keep up with the times, or to change something that you've been involved in that started to not really perform for you the right way. And this kind of wakening up, you have King of Pentacles here. You are kind of, I'm going to say this week, as you realize this, you're also going to be tapping into this energy of King of Pentacles, in the sense that you know you can do, you know that you're good at your craft, or whatever your career or your goal, I want to say your talent, right? Say, for instance, if you are an engineer, or you have your own business, or whatever the case may be, you are a king in that. You are a master in that. And so King of Pentacles energy comes in this week to kind of buoy up your self-confidence, that just because the one area you're working in here, it may not be working out for you, or maybe you're seeing signs that you're going to have to adapt and change. As the times change, you're also reminded that you can do this. You are a master at what you do, and you can do it. Justice comes in, and it could be that for some of you, you may actually be getting a judgment or a rendering on a particular issue to do with your career or your finances. It can also be that you've been feeling a little bit out of balance lately, and you seek to rebalance this desire of not only being like sort of the king at your skill, right? The king, the master of your skill set, but also moving forward, progressing. Right? You've been the master, but you haven't been progressing, and this has been out of balance, and the balance will come back in this week. World card, Knight of Pentacles, and 10 of Wands. So again, you are realizing that it's time to change, right? The World card talks about realizing that you are at a particular stage in your life. You are where you are supposed to be. This is a really good card, the World card, especially in times when you're doubting yourself, or you're wondering perhaps, am I on the right path for myself? Well, the World card comes in this week, and you really begin to feel like, yes, I am at the right. I'm at the perfect place at the perfect time in my life. And just because things do need to change right now, and this seems to be a running theme for you, Scorpio, just because things may need to change, or I may need to adapt, does not mean that I'm not at the right place in my life. You know, life is about change and adapting. And this kind of realization really gives you a lot of self-confidence. And what does it do? It brings in a Knight of Pentacles, meaning that you are even more determined to see your goal out. Whereas before you may have felt like, well, how can I change careers now? Or how can I change paths now? Or how can I change my business now? The World card and this realization comes in and really gives you the strength, and yes, you decide, and this Knight of Pentacles energy you resonate with. A lot of people think Knight of Pentacles is automatically somebody or an opportunity coming in. It may well be, But more than anything, oftentimes the Knight of Pentacles is either an energy that you're resonating with or an energy that a certain situation is calling for. In this case, I'm going to say you become the Knight of Pentacles again, Scorpio, because you really follow your path. And what happens? You lay down the wands, 10 of Wands. You come to a 10 of Wands, and you're able to lay down the burdens and the baggage that you've held onto from the past. This is a beautiful new start. It's a confident start, and it's a start on you sort of making a switch from one path. Now you're going to go down this path, but it's going to be even better, even greater for you. You're going to feel even more self-confident. And whatever baggage and hang-ups and leftovers you had from the old path or the paths from previous, you're absolutely going to lay down. 9 of Cups, 5 of Cups, and 2 of Swords. This is going to be the last spread. 9 of Cups talks about a wish fulfillment. So some of you are getting a wish fulfillment, certainly in the area of love, right? Your ultimate desire is coming in. You almost feel like it's too good to be true. Why? Because 5 of Cups is up, and I think you worry a little bit that this beautiful wish fulfillment that's coming in is just going to end like the other relationships have ended. You're kind of, focusing your attention on the past, but with the 5 of Cups, and remember, I've been saying, in fact, I've been saying in all the weekly readings this week that the 5s have been showing up at some point or another. And you didn't have very many in yours, Scorpio, but there is your 5 of Cups. And so 5 is the number for power struggle. 5 of Cups, we have an internal power struggle. We have an internal power struggle that we all go through. Which to do? Do I remain sort of miserable about the past and wallowing in self-pity? And I'm not saying this is what you're doing. I'm saying this is the choice we are all given. Oftentimes, we will ruminate about the past or about issues that have upset us. And really part of us wants to look to the future, right? But the fear of being hurt again will stop you. It's easier to look at past hurts, right? This is why we think about the past. It's much easier to focus on something that has hurt you in the past than it is to perhaps focus on the future, knowing that you could possibly be hurt again. The hurt you've had before is the one you know. The hurt in the future is the one you don't know. And this is why oftentimes people are afraid to seize the future and seize future opportunities because they're fearful of being hurt again like they were before. Yet, so instead, they remain with their focus on the previous hurt. Why? Because it's easier to handle. It's already happened. You've already gotten used to it. It's painful, but it's easier to sit in that place. So this is an internal power struggle. You need to just lift your head and look to the future, because this 9 of Cups wish fulfillment is indeed really, really beautiful. As a result of all of this, you start to feel like you have a choice to make this week. How do you integrate these two lives, right? You have two parts of your life now that you're feeling like perhaps you have to make a choice. But remember, 2 of Swords is not a choice. 2 of Swords is a balance. The lesson of the 2 of Swords card is that when you have two things in your life that you really must both have those things in your life, you can't live without either or, then you must find a way to balance them. And so 2 of Swords talks about that. It talks about duality. It talks about going in within and realizing that it's not about choices, but it's about integration. All right, guys, this is your reading for October 6th to the 12th. I hope it did resonate. Obviously, this week you guys are really dealing with a lot of self-mastery. You're dealing with a lot of financial and career conversations, but yet there is a strong sort of relationship theme going on, and it could be that your finances and career are really impacting you this week because you want a relationship or a connection with somebody and you need to up your coin, or you may need to do something with your career in order for that to be facilitated. So they really coincide this week. Right, the material and the heart, the water, the emotional plane this week. All right, guys. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe, share the video. All of that really helps my channel to grow. Okay, those of you booking private readings, thank you. Donations, thank you so much. But for right now, Scorpio, I'm going to say have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.